In this video, we're going to have a look to see how to set up this basic product system. It's very easy. What we do is we have our product. This is a standard post within WordPress. Here we have Fluent Forms Pro. And what we've done is we pre-populate with the post name. We then pull in the price from a custom field, and we also pull in these add-ons from the custom field. Here we have a total field, and you'll see that as I adjust the various add-ons, so the total is adjusted. So the first page of the form is the product related information, and the second page would then be the personal information to submit the query. Now these add-ons are pulled in from Advanced Custom Fields Repeater, and each one is different. So you can create whatever you want to put into those add-ons. So to show you another example to illustrate what I mean, is we'll head over here to the second post, which I've called product B, and here you'll see that we have different add-ons. So the previous post had 2, this one has 4, and they're completely different to those 2 in the previous product. Now we could have set it up so that all the add-ons were the same, and you would then just select from the same add-ons, but in this case we're looking at it as though each product is different and so has different requirements and has different add-ons. And then of course from here you have your total, and then on the second page we have our personal information. So to show you how this works, if I was here to say select just those 2 items, and I was then to head over to next and then to submit the form, let me put in my details, and I submit the form. That form has now gone through to the database into the entries, and I'm now going to go and have a look at my forms. So we head over to Fluent Forms Pro, and from here we'll see the forms, and now we can select the entries that we'd like to look at. And now what I'm going to do is have a look at that last entry that came through on June the 20th. And you'll see that listed on there will only be the items that I selected. There we have the 2 items that I selected in the form. So this is how the inquiry would come through. Of course, you could also head over to making a payment online from that form as well. In this case, I've left it as an inquiry. So in this video, we're going to have a look to see how to set up this system. Now, just to show you the setup before we start, I'm going to head over to plugins. And you'll see that we've used Advanced Custom Fields Pro because of course we want to use the repeater function, code snippets for the function. We've had to use Fluent Forms Pro because we wanted to do the calculation on the form to create the total. So that's why we've included then the Fluent Forms Pro. And then of course we have Oxygen for the template. So to get started, the first thing that I'm going to do then is create my form. And then I'm going to head over to create the functions for the form. So let's head over to Fluent Forms Pro. And then I'm going to create my form. So here we do, we're just going to take from the standard inquiry there, and you'll see that we have subject, we have message, the personal information, but the one thing we don't have is the checkbox, and we also don't have the total field. So what I'm going to do then is add the checkbox. So we've added the checkbox, and then I need to add a numerical field which we'll then use for the total. And there is the numeric field. What I'm also going to do is just disable the required field requirement from the message field, and just going to move things around a bit here. So I'm going to move that up to there. So here we have our form, and now of course we do want to go over to the Pro options, and what I want to do here is create a paged form. So to do that, we head over to these fields and we look for the section break. So I'm not the section break. We head over to form step. So there we have the step, and there we have the page break. Now what I'm going to do is move the page break up. or leave the page break there, and I'm just going to move these fields down. So I'm moving that down, and I'm going to move the email down, and then I'm going to move the numeric field up to there. And what I'm also going to do then is I'll just leave the message field there. So this subject field will pre-populate with the product name. And now what I want to do is add another numeric field, and that numeric field then is going to be the price. So maybe what I'll do is I can put the standard price first. So we're going to pre-populate here with the name. Then we're going to pull in the custom field with the price. Then we're going to pull in the various options from the advanced custom field repeater. And then we're going to have the total. And here you'll be able to add a message if there's anything you'd like to say relevant to the product. And then we head over to the second page, and the second page then is going to have the personal information. So I'm going to save that form. And there we have, we've saved that. You'll see here I already have Oxygen Builder loaded, and I'm now going to replace the form that I had. So I'm going to remove that short code and replace it with the short code of the current field. So there we've done that, and now you see that our form has changed, and now I'm going to save. So now we've replaced it with a new form, and what I'm also going to do now is just make sure that I have unique values for each of the fields, so that when it pulls through that I've assigned it to a unique value. So the first thing I'll do on subject field, head over to advanced functions, and I'm going to go title. So I know now that the subject is now going to be the title. Then I head over to the first numeric field, and I'll go to advanced options, and you'll see here that the name is numeric field. So I'm going to change that to numeric underscore price. Then the checkbox field, I'm going to head over there to the options, and we'll call that checkbox underscore options. And the final field that we have, the numeric field, is going to be a numeric field with the total. So we'll call that numeric underscore total. And what we'll do is we'll enable calculation, but only on that numeric field. And let's save the form. And I'm going to head back. And then if I go to advanced fields, right, so here we have the calculation expression option. So you'll see at the moment that it only allows the first numeric field, but it's doing nothing for the second numeric field. So let me head over here now and call that price, so that makes more sense when I look at the numeric field. And then the checkbox field, I'm going to call that product options. And now I'm going to enable calc values. So that adds another field here called calc value, and this is the value that will be used in the formula. We'll save that. And now when I head over to the numeric field and I look at the expression, you'll see that I have the price option. So we go price plus, and then the second numeric value will be the product options. So that's all that we need to do then for the value to work and for the form to work. Now what we need to do is populate those fields with the right code. And to do that, we'll head over to our snippets, code snippets, for the function that's going to take care of that detail. So let's do that. Let's head over here to snippets. And because I already have the code from the previous form, and you'll probably also just copy this code and use it in your own, I'm going to copy that, and I'll head over to all snippets. I'm going to add a new snippet, and I'll call it product options 2, and I'm going to paste that in there, and we'll save changes and activate. So what are the things that, the important things that we need to know? Well, right off the bat, we need to make sure that we have the correct form ID that we're going to be using in the function. So to do that, let's just head over to our form field, our Fluent Forms Pro, and we're going to get the form ID. So that will load up here, and we'll see that we're going to be using form number 9. And just to make that easier to identify, let's call this the product form. Right, so now we'll find it, and we know that it's the ID of 9. So in the code, first thing we're going to say is if this form ID isn't equal to 9, then just return the standard data for the form. And we're going to do that for each of the functions. So the first function that I have will look at the input text. The second one will look at the input number, which is the product price. And then we're going to look at one here which looks at the checkboxes, which pulls in the repeater values. So that value is going to be 9 as well. And those are the 3 options that we need to look at. So the first one here, we'll look at the title. So here we have the post title is equal to get the title. We use this array helper. We say look for the attributes name in form number 9, and we look for subject field. So let's just go to our form and let's just have a look and see if we get the correct value. So we head over to advanced options and we see that the name of our form is subject title. So I'm heading back here, and instead of subject field, now we'll call that subject title, and we say the value is equal to post title, which is that variable that gets the title of the post, and then we say read only equals true, so no editing allowed, and all other text fields to just return the standard data. Then we head over to the data input number, and the data input number that we're looking at here is going to be the selling price. So I head over to my form and I'm going to go to the price, and I go to advanced options and I copy numeric price, head over and I say on form number 9 look for numeric price, and in numeric price get the field product price. So that would be the advanced custom field, and we'll have a look at setting that up now. So we're putting in the product price there, and then we look at the repeater, and in the repeater I'm looking to replace the product options, and I go to product options and the name there is checkbox options. Then I head over to my custom field and I change that to checkbox options. So what I've done now essentially is make sure that the individual item on the form is referenced now in the function, so that whatever I do in the function then only affects those fields in this particular form. The next thing that I'm going to do now is just have a look at the custom fields that we've set up. So I'll open that in a new tab, and you'll see that I have a field group here called product options, and inside product options we have 2 fields. One is a repeater, which would be the product options, and the second one that I have is the product price. So inside the product options repeater we have the options name and we have the options price, and we say add option as the button label. So just a standard text value there, and the options price we have a standard number field. Now we have a look at the product price, and the product price you'll see that is a standard number field, and it's just the standard field, there's no repeater. So with that field group in place, we then just make sure that post type is equal to post, and that happens to be the default value in advanced custom fields. We haven't changed anything, so those values should still work. Then when I head back to my function, the first thing that I'm going to do is the product price. So I know that the advanced custom field price is product price. And if I want to get the code, there is a add-on you can get for Google Chrome, which is to toggle the ACF code fields and activate that, reload. And to get the code, then I can just hover over the individual fields and I can just get the code. So if I needed that particular code to put in that advanced custom field, I can then copy code, head over to my function, and that function, the first function we know will pull in the input text, which is the post title, and also make sure that it's a non-editable field. The second one we're going to do then is going to be for the input number. So this is going to be the filter for the input number, and what we're going to do here now is make sure that if the attribute's name is equal to numeric price, which is the numeric field, then we need to get the value for the price. And you'll see here that this code here references the selling price in advanced custom fields. So that code that I copied, if I was to paste it in here, would be if product price equals get field product price. So if the field exists, then I've assigned that to a variable called selling prices. And then in my code here, which then updates the field in the Fluent form, so we don't need that anymore because we have that here. Then I say that, okay, so if that field exists, then assign selling prices equals selling price to this particular variable, and I include that variable here. So the value for that custom, for that numeric price, the value in this is going to be the selling price, and it will be read only. And then the values that are included here in custom are then added to the array, which forms the data attributes, and that data is then returned to the form with the updated values. And what we also say then is that if this is not the name of the field, if numeric price isn't the name of the field and it is a numeric field, then just return the standard data. So this is only going to apply to the field on my Fluent form called numeric price. The next thing that we need to have a look at, the next one in the filter, would be the individual values for the product options. So first of all, we say that if the form value, if the form ID isn't 9, then just return the data, but if it is 9, then continue. And so here we have, once again, we have the helper from Fluent Forms to identify the name of the fields, and the attribute's name is checkbox options. So that is the unique name that was given to that field. So here we have our checkbox options, go to advanced options, and the name attribute is checkbox options, and we've now assigned that to checkbox options. And we've said if it's not equal to that, then just return the data or else continue. And here we did get the post ID, and sometimes the post ID is required to get the right advanced custom field value. So we get that value, and then we start the code for the repeater within advanced custom fields. So the way that you would normally do it, the standard way, is what we insert now into our function. If you're not sure what the correct way is to write the code for the repeater, you can head over to your field group, and by activating that add-on, you can go to the repeater and say either just copy the repeater code or copy the repeater code with subfields. So if I was to copy it with subfields, and I'll just paste it in here so you can see what that looks like. So this would be the repeater then, if we were to use that code, and you'll see that it does the complete repeater code for us. You'll see if have rows, while have rows, pulls in the subfield, get the subfield, end while, end if. So what we've done here, what I've done here, is taken that same code, and what I've done is I've declared the array, first of all, to say that the custom variable is an array, and that custom is what we're going to use. Then the values in custom will be used to update the data that we return to the form field. And you'll see that that is then used later in my code here, where we say this variable data settings advanced options is equal these two options within the variable, and here we've set the custom fields into an array and put them into that custom variable. So you'll see we have the first we say that it's an array, and here we'll build that array. So the first thing that we do then is we list the custom fields. There we have refurbish description equal get field option name, and the second one was refurbish price get subfield options price, and the post ID is just added to make sure we get the correct value from the current post. And then what we do when we build the array, so we say custom array is equal to these values in this array, and we build the array here, and we say that the label, and here's where we put in the currency symbol, and then we add the refurbished price dash and then the refurbished description. And with the value, once again, we say that the refurbished price dash refurbished description, and these are the values that you will then read in each option. And in order to facilitate the calculation, we say that the calc value is also then equal to the refurbished price. So that means that that field in our Fluent form here, where we've stipulated a calculation value, and here we're just saying use that value, the refurbished price value, as the refurbished price for the calculation. And over here, we then merge all those values into the array, which is then returned to the form, and then we say return data, and that data is then returned to the form. And here then we'll just say save changes, and then what we can do is head over to our post. So let's head over to tutorials, let's head over to posts, and you'll see here that the values are being pulled in. Now to show you how that works, what I'm going to do is actually change those or create a new post. So let's go to tutorials, let's have it over to posts, and I'm going to add a new post. We'll call that product C. And here you can see here are my product options. So I'm going to add two options there. Let's close that window, and we'll just call this option 1. We'll call that option 2, and I'm going to call that option 3. And then the price will go with 100, 200, 300, and the product price will just go with 1,000. But you can add an unlimited number of items here, and we'll publish that. And once published, we'll go and have a look at that post, and you'll see that there are the values that have been pulled through. I don't have a description in here for the product. It works like a normal post in the way that this template has been set up. So I do know that if I head over to featured image, I could select an image from my list here and update and view the post, and there would be the value. There is the image. I could also, within the post content, have repeated the custom field options, but in this case, I haven't done that. So here you would enter the value. So let's go 1, 2, let's add them all. And you'll see that my price is now increased to 1,600. And let's just put in message. Then I'm going to head over to the second page and just let that populate. And I'm going to submit the form. And now I'm going to head over to my forms area on Fluent Forms Pro. And here we have the contact form, and you'll see there's just the one entry there. And if we look at that entry, it's for product C. And there you can see that I've added those 3 items, and those 3 items are listed. So that's pretty much how easy it would be to create the product, and then also to create the form that goes with that product, so you can turn any standard post into your own type of a mini shop. So you can then of course add whatever information that you want, and of course the form is on the right hand side, product information first and then personal information. This could be linked then also to a payment gateway, so that the person would then be able to pay directly after adding the values that they want to that field. Right, so I hope that explained it as easily as possible, and the code will of course be in the description for you to download. So great, I hope you enjoyed that video, and thank you for watching.